have a very short proclamation I'd like to read. I read it on Saturday for Hearts Music, celebrating their 100th anniversary. It was quite a day for our 3rd Street with Gold's Pharmacy celebrating their 125th, and just down the street, Hearts Music celebrating their 100th. But I'd like to read it tonight. Whereas Hearts Music was founded in 1913 by William Hart at 116 East 3rd Street, and whereas in 1970 Stanley Hart took over ownership of the store until 1989, when Steve and Jean Jordy and Kathy Ingvelson began ownership, and whereas still today Hearts Music is open at 115 East 3rd Street and services the traditional music needs of the community and is a local supplier of musical instruments and products for the area schools and provides repairs, rentals, lessons, and accessories for many musical interests. Now therefore I, Mark Peterson, do hereby declare Hearts Music in the city of Winona on its 100th anniversary, or honor hereby Hearts Music. Just a couple other things quickly. Over the weekend, we certainly saw a lot of great activities in Winona, a lot of volunteers stepping up and doing some great things. In addition to Hearts and Goltz having events, the Polish Museum had a wonderful event, their Apple Festival down there, big crowd. The Women's Resource Center had their Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, another big crowd, a lot of young people from the university there. I just have to throw in my group of you guys got a big trophy, not for our legs or anything, but our walking, but for our fundraising. It was a good event and a good organization. And also Live at the Levee, a wonderful event down there, brought a lot of people down there. It was really kind of a hub of people of all ages gathering down at the river, and it was great to see. And that leads me to say something about next weekend. The cemetery walk will be going on, the Historical Society puts on. Last night, you may have missed it, but on WCCO Channel 4, they had a segment, Finding Minnesota. Mike Binkley came down last week and did a segment that first aired last night. It's available if you go online to the CCO website and take a look at it. It's extremely well done. So with that, that's all I have. And City Manager, do you have any comments?
No comments, Your Honor.
Okay. Roll call.
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Here. Iden.
Here.
Borzakowski.
Here.
Double.
Here.
Under the required public hearings, item 2.1 is a public hearing regarding the liquor licenses issued for the premises of Broken World Records.
Declare the public hearing open and ask if Officer Williams would like to say anything, or our city attorney.
Good evening, Mayor Peterson and Council. You have before you, and you are somewhat familiar with this process since we've had a couple of these in the last few months, but we've had a criminal conviction for after-hours consumption of alcohol at Broken World Records, which is on 3rd Street, and William Shalene had pled guilty to that, which recently concluded the criminal process. So now before you, you have the civil licensure issue and the city's options, and there's in the packet tonight there's proposed findings as well related to the violation of city code for after-hours consumption. Basically the options that you have are to fine, suspend, revoke the license, do nothing, or a combination of the prior three. Included in the packet as well is the breakdown of what has been done previously. There's a spreadsheet included. Part of the document appendix or Exhibit D also discusses the best practices. Broken World Records is not a participant in the city's best practices program. So if you're looking at that particular table, you would want to look at the table that talks about for non-participants. This is their first offense, and with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Questions for Mr. Hood? not? Is there anybody here that would wish to speak? Step forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is William Shalene, 219 North Street, Fountain City. The owner of Broken World Records. I believe there was a little bit of inflammatory or sensationalized journalism that may have led to this, indicating that there was after-hours serving of alcohol. And although it was a subtle difference, the ticket that I pled guilty to was only consumption of alcohol after hours, being myself the only person and a bartender in the bar at the time. I would motion that there be no fine, no revocation or suspension of the liquor license due to the circumstances that it was just me, myself, and a bartender at the bar at the time, and I think the charges have been exaggerated through the media.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Shalene?
Mr. Shalene, are you aware of the city ordinance that you pled guilty to before you committed the act?
Yes, and I realize in retrospect that I should not have pled guilty in that the alcoholic beverage in question was opened before 12:59 a.m. on that evening and had been sitting there for more than an hour. This would be 1/2 of a can of beer.
Okay, thank you.
If I remember right, in the officer's report, it said that somebody was observed drinking alcohol.
I would contest that. The bartender and I were in a back room with glass block windows, and I don't know how an officer could see through the glass block windows.
Might be a little late to contest it if you've already.
As I said,
pled guilty.
in retrospect, I should have not pled guilty at the time and contested it.
George?
Just a question, Chief. What time did the police make contact with this business?
The time on the ticket is 2:42 a.m., so it's an hour and 15 minutes after anybody would be removed from the bar. At 1:30, they have to be out of the bar, so there's another hour and 15 minutes. Based on the notes on the ticket, the officer did state that they heard voices and were able to look into the bar and observed a subject drink from a Hamm's beer can. The occupants of the establishment did state that it had been sitting there for a while. However, the officers did notice that there was condensation on the can and it was cold to the touch. So it leads one to believe that it was probably a little bit more fresh than sitting there for 2 hours and 45 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes if you opened it at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Was there cooperation with the police department?
Yes, when they knocked, I opened the door and asked if I could be of any assistance.
Yeah, they knocked on the door and it was opened. A little bit different than the last scenario we had that required us to apply for a search warrant.
I will add that they also asked if they could enter the premises. I agreed and allowed them in.
Any other questions for Mr. Shalene? If not, thank you. Anybody else here wish to speak to this subject? I'll ask again, anybody here wish to speak? Final time, anybody here wish to speak? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for discussion.
In order to be consistent, I move that we impose a fine of $300.
I'll second that.
Motion by,
What is the appropriate, how should I say it?
You said it right. To be paid when?
Like right here, how many days? They said it's 5.
That a civil fine of $300 shall be imposed and shall be paid on or before, what's the date today, 7th, 15th? Let's go October 15th.
5 business days is what it recommends.
October 15th of this year.
Okay, we have a motion by Jerry and a second by Al. Further discussion?
Yeah, if I could, and we do get a lot of these, and we appreciate your cooperation. That certainly would have been taken into consideration. It would have been worse, but we've been very consistent on first offense with people that have been cooperative. For a simple mistake, it gets pretty expensive. This with the other fine, we're very aware of that, but this is certainly due to consistency.
Al?
And just a comment too, I'd suggest perhaps looking into the city's best practices program too. Just something you might want to consider for yourself and your employees.
That would have been a difference of $50.
Yeah.
Anybody else wish to speak? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 2.2 is the proposed liquor license fees for 2014. And you have before you the proposed fee increases in the ordinance. The proposed fees are underlined, and they're approximately a 2% increase over the current fees.
Move to introduce the attached ordinance.
Well, we need to have a public hearing.
Oops,
here
you're
first.
right, you're right.
I'll declare the public hearing open and ask if anybody wishes to speak. I'll ask again, anybody wish to speak? Doesn't appear so. I'll ask one more time, anybody wish to speak? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. And now
I don't know if I want to make it anymore.
we'll, okay, well,
Move to introduce the attached ordinance.
I'd second.
motion by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. George?
As I have done in the past, I'm going to vote against the liquor license increase. It comes up every year on that particular license, and I don't feel it's warranted every year, and I will be voting against it tonight.
Okay, anybody else? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. One
Under
against.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the appointment to the Cable Television Commission of Dave Stoltman.
Move to confirm that appointment.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2, additional dates for the Winona Artisan Market, and they have requested dates through October of 2013.
I move to approve that request. I would second that.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam. Discussion?
Question. I noticed that the hours on page 13 says "or until sold out." And I would like to amend that to eliminate the "or until sold out."
Is there a reason?
Well, I think that, it's a Saturday afternoon, and the theater utilizes that parking space in the afternoon. And it's moved off of Main Street into the parking lot of the theater. So if it's until sold out, that could be the entire day, of which that parking lot is a very busy parking lot on Saturday afternoon.
I kind of interpreted the other way, actually, thinking that they would be, in case they got it sold out at 10:30, they would close.
Well, that would be, I wouldn't have a problem that way. I'm more concerned
That was
about
the
it
way
the
I
other way in
read
the
it,
conflict.
Where is
Maybe
this
Monica
exactly?
could explain it.
Maybe instead of deleting the words "until sold out," you could add the phrase "whichever is earlier." So if,
That would be fine. I would,
so
agree
insert
with that.
So there's
whichever occurs first.
a motion to amend,
Second that.
and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Amendment carries. Is there a motion on the
There's the main motion.
main motion?
There already is. a
There was,
motion.
okay, that's right. All right, any further discussion on that? Al?
I just have a question. I was looking over the artisan market guidelines, and I don't know if the proposer is here in the audience or not, but I just have a question on how one determines what is an artisan item to be sold. I mean, it's, kind of beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I think, in a lot of things. But I guess I think it would move forward, and I'll vote to approve the agreement. But, I just want to make sure that everybody is treated fairly in this process, that, and maybe Michelle has some,
Yeah, I talked to
Offsite, too.
one of them a few years ago, and they're just trying to make sure there's nothing offensive,
okay,
and that it's homemade and not something they purchased from someone else and
Yeah.
are selling.
okay.
Otherwise, I think they're pretty open, but some art can be offensive. I don't know how to say it.
And that's a touchy
It
area.
is, you're
That's why I
right.
was looking at this going,
No, you're
how
right.
do you determine that fairly to everybody's sensibility? And still produce, but this has been going on for a while anyway, so we haven't really had any issue with it. But as I say, I was looking at the guidelines going, I wonder, if somebody would be concerned about that.
I
And
just have a point.
Mayor
of
and
information.
council, I'd point out too that this is signed by an individual doing business as the artisan market, so it's up to the organizer
Okay,
to determine it. And if we had issues, we would go to that individual
okay.
for more.
Well,
And this has been
I
our
just
second
have a
year.
question, maybe someone can answer, is that historically, these things have been held on Main Street, and I noticed it was moved to the parking lot. Is this a,
No,
No, that's the farmer's market, this is
It's,
separate from
okay,
that.
Artisan's
they
always
would
been
be in
there.
conjunction too?
Right.
Okay, because,
The farmer's market moved during those times, though, off Main, according to the map.
yeah,
But
according to
the
the
artisan,
map,
the artisan market has always been
well,
there.
that's what made me think that maybe there was a direction to move the farmer's market because of the map.
I don't think so.
If I can find the map again.
I think Monica can answer this.
Mayor and council, this map doesn't show, but the main part of the farmer's market is on Main Street. And then when they have additional vendors, their overflow is in the theater parking lot. So they always use Main Street for the farmer's market. And then I think it's just Saturday mornings, they use that additional spot in the, so she just wanted to show that they were, where they were relative to the
Okay, that-
Saturday morning farmer's
That
market.
was my question, is that it looked like the farmer's market was only.
Other questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is a request for temporary on-sale wine and beer license for St. Mary's Church for their River City Festival to be held this Saturday, October 12th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. He pointed to you.
Oh,
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.4 is a request to close a portion of the parking lot by MC's at Second and Johnson for an event on October 12th. The request would be from noon until 9 p.m., and Mr. Evans is here if you have questions.
I'd move to approve the request.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Would you have anything you wish to say, or?
Well, it's pretty much the same thing as last time. I was here, was a month and a half ago or something like that. So it's gonna be for the Gilbert Brown Foundation. I don't know if you guys have any other questions right now?
How did your last fundraiser do?
Not as well as we'd hoped.
They never do.
We did about 2,000 which is a small part of the whole. But it should be bigger this time. There's gonna be some more players. It's fall time, football season, so, and we're a little more established now, so, within the community, so hopefully more people will come during the day.
I have a question, Mr. Evans.
Yep.
The agenda item before us on the council says that we will allow people to drink in the parking lot but nothing will be served in the lot. By drinking in the parking lot, you mean only in the enclosed
Yes,
snow fence area?
yes, that's right. And it'll be
Just
served at the bar inside.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the orderly annexation request from Marilyn Swart at 1659 Valley View Drive.
I would move to approve her annexation request.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.2 is a consultant for the National Register nomination form for the Winona Lumber Exchange Building at 125 West Fifth Street.
I'd move to approve that request.
Motion by Michelle,
I would
Second.
seconded by George. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.3 is the Masonic Temple Grant Application Historic Structure Report.
I'd move to approve the attached resolution.
Second that.
Moved by Al, seconded by Pam. This is something that we talked about in pre-council at some length. And just, you want to say anything more or for the audience about this project? We all know about it, but might be good to just highlight it a little bit.
Mayor and council, we're coming before you tonight to ask for support for application process to the Minnesota State Historical Society. The city is interested in applying for the Historic and Cultural Heritage Grant through the society. This would be a grant that we could apply for up to $10,000. And we would require, or we're asking for a match of up to $25,000. The intent of this grant application would be to conduct a historic structures report on the Masonic Temple. The idea behind the historic structural report would be that we would garner more information about the architectural and structural integrity of the building. The historic structures report would also, when completed, would also assist in further grant applications with having that report completed. Again, if you have any other questions, I certainly will answer them.
Well, I'd just say that following their advice and going ahead with the structural report will only enhance any future applications for larger grants, I'm sure of that. So. Any other comments, anybody? Questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.4 is the purchase of one replacement transit bus. We are recommending ordering off the state contract, and the amended state transit grant will provide 80% of the total cost, with 20% local match coming from our transit fund reserves.
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Paul,
Second.
seconded by Pam. Discussion? Questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.5 is the report on the assessment roll for the 2013 sidewalk project, and to set the public hearing for November 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jerry, seconded by Michelle. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.6 is a resolution ordering assessment of costs for the 2013 miscellaneous utilities.
Move to approve that request.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.7 is the report on the assessment roll for the 2013 miscellaneous utilities, and to set the public hearing for November 4th.
I move to schedule that public hearing for November 4th.
Moved by Michelle,
Second.
seconded by Jerry. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
I think we started with George last time. Start with Al this time.
And we'll continue with Councilman Craig.
Judy, I sent you an email, I'm not sure you got it, but if we could have some discussion in the future about I think it's 6 intersections on Lake Street between Harriet and Sioux. Comes up every so often, and there's a lot of discussion about it again within the neighborhood, so we could just bring it back.
We will be coming back with a recommendation.
Good, all right, thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Well, I was gonna plug the cemetery walk,
Oh,
but
go ahead.
you already took care
No,
of
I
that. Bill Cool's in it. I think he's an ice harvester. Come on out and see your coworker. He always does a good job. And then just a reminder, Progressive dinner tickets are on sale. They're going fast, so don't hesitate to call the chamber and get your tickets.
Thank you. Paul?
Just remind everybody that the fall dinner, harvest dinner, is at St. Paul's Church on Wednesday of this, and there are takeouts available.
They're only going till 6:30 or something, or 6 o'clock?
No, it's like 7 o'clock.
Is it? Okay.
Are
Somebody
you delivering?
No. I get to clean the dishes. I get table scraps.
Pam?
Pass.
George?
Okay, thank you. At our last meeting, I talked about the WK crossing guard situation down on Mankato and Broadway, and pleased to report that that Monday when I brought it up, the principal was out there and other crossing guards. The police department did a surveillance. I was there one morning, not very long, but just, enough to see what was going on, and we seem to be getting a handle on that corner. So the cooperation of everyone from police and from the schools certainly helped make that a much safer intersection right now. So, but we'll continue to keep our eye on that. If it's possible, while the blacktop crews are in town, I know we've all heard about the left turn lane on Mankato Avenue going onto Sarnia Street. If there's a way that could be milled down and just overlay that one section, because it's, quite bumpy, or if it's something we could do, I know it's a state road, if we could just look into having maybe something done, but it's maybe 200 feet at the most.
Council member, that is scheduled to be all redone by MinDOT
This year yet?
sometime before June of next year.
Oh, okay,
So it will be taken care of.
okay, so we have it on the list, all right, fine, thank you. And just a couple of sad notes. Just like to offer sympathy to the O'Reilly family, to Nancy and her son Kevin and her other children on the passing of husband, father, grandfather George O'Reilly. George, who was very, very active with the Knights of Columbus Club, working fundraisers and always helping raise funds for disabilities, children with disabilities, and just always willing to give of himself. So, like I say, he's going to be missed. He was a great man, and condolences again to his wife and his children. And also, condolences to the Troppel family on the passing of husband and father and grandfather George. George, a longtime East End resident, him and his entire family, and just a pleasant guy, a fun-loving guy. Spent many years working for the Corps of Engineers. He knew every tugboat that came from St. Paul all the way to New Orleans. So, and a big Minnesota Viking fan. So, condolences to his wife Janice and her children and grandchildren, and he certainly will be missed. He was a great man. Thank you.
Wait, he has a concern.
It's not a concern, just an alibi round, and we all kind of forgot this, but
Yes.
we were just told this evening that Mary Jewel will be leaving us. She's moving to, we're not going to say better things, because this is a great market, but it's going to be Winona's loss and Shakopee's gain, and best of luck.
You'll be missed.
Big time.
And on the consent agenda, there are 4 items. Approval of the minutes from the September 16th meetings, the final adoption of an ordinance to establish handicap parking on Second Street, a claim against the city by Deborah Roshan and others, and a claim against the city by Clyde Headkey.
Move to approve the consent items.
Motion by Al, seconded by Pam, discussion. Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
We are one of 150 cities.